Good morning, you guys. Today we're doing 7.2, continuing on with our geometry chapter here. So go ahead and make sure your notes are out. So first up here, we have our complementary angles. So complementary angles are two angles where their sum measure is 90 degrees. So all that's saying is they have to add up to be 90 degrees. So right here, we have this first angle, it's 30 degrees. We got this angle, they're not even touching, they're just side by side, 30 and 60. Well, they would be complementary because 30 plus 60 equals 90. Okay, that is all there is to it. On the second one here, angles 1 and 2. Now, it doesn't give us what their degree actually is. However, if you look underneath here, and as we've talked about in class and in our last ed puzzle, we know that box means that's a right angle. And right angles are always 90 degrees. So they're going to have to add together to be 90 degrees. That's all there is to complementary angles, guys. Just do the two angles, add to 90 degrees. So moving on, supplementary angles here. So supplementary are two angles when the sum of their measure is 180 degrees. It's very similar to complementary, just instead of 90 degrees, now they need to add to 180. So once again, we got our two angles. You got the 135, we have 45. Well, if you add those together, 135 plus 45 is 180 degrees. So those two angles would be supplementary angles. Same thing over here, 3 and 4. Once again, it doesn't tell us the actual measurement of each angle. However, as we talked about last week as well, we know a straight line always has the degree of what? Well, 180 degrees. So really, it didn't matter which way this line was going, what it looked like. We knew this line right here is 180, so they have to add together to be 180 degrees. Okay, go ahead and try A, B, and C. Tell us if they're complementary, supplementary, or maybe they're neither. So in part A here, we need to add them together. You have 70. You add that to 110. 70 plus 110 is 180 degrees. So which one is that? Well, those have to be supplementary angles. Part B, you were doing the same thing. So if you hadn't already, finish B and C. So add them together. 41 plus 49 equals 90 degrees. Well, that means they are, if you're saying complementary, you would be correct. And on part C, you get 128 plus 62, and that equals 190. So which one is that? Well, it has to equal either 90 to be complementary or 180 to be supplementary. So this one would be neither. Okay, moving along here, guys. Draw an angle on the protractor to make a pair of adjacent complementary angles. So what is the measure of your second angle? So first we need to figure out complementary angles. You got to remember, well, that means the line or the two angles are going to add to be what? Well, 90 degrees. So if this adds to be to 90, this is going to have to go straight on the 90. So the line's going to have to be straight up and down. Okay. So we know the total thing is 90. So it equals 90. We have our unknown angle plus our 60. That's how you're making it a complementary angle. And again, as a review for adjacent, it shares a vertex and this common line. So we know they're adjacent. Subtract 60 from both sides. You get x equals 30 degrees. So over here, as a review, supplementary, we know the line has to be 180 degrees. So go ahead and finish it. So if you drew your line straight across to the 180, because you know a straight line is 180 degrees, you'd be exactly correct. And once again, we also need to find the angle. So if this is 60, and we know the straight line is 180 degrees, what's this missing length right here have to be? Well, if you went to set this up, you know they equal 180. You have x plus 60 is what equals that. Subtract 60 from both sides. Cancels out. X equals 120 degrees. Okay, go ahead and flip it over, guys. We got one or two more to do here. So tell whether the angles are complementary or supplementary, and then find the angle. So first up, tell me, is A complementary or supplementary? Well, you said complementary. You would be correct. Part B, is that complementary or supplementary? Well, we know that's supplementary because these two angles are adding to give us this line right here. Well, that we know straight lines are 180, so that had to be supplementary. And when we did this one right here, you looked at it and said, well, that's the big angle. We know these two add together to give us the big one. Well, it has that hidden box down there. We know that is always a right angle or a 90-degree angle. So this one, find the value of x. We know it's complementary. We know it adds to be 90. So add 4x plus 36. Go ahead and finish solving. So you should have moved the constant first. You subtract 36 from both sides. These cancel out. You're left with 4x equals 54. This is multiplication, so you divide by 4 on both sides. X equals 13.5 degrees. You could always plug that back in. Check. 13.5 times 4 is 54. 54 plus 36 is 90. We know we did it correctly because this was a complementary angle. Go ahead and set up the supplementary one. So we know the straight line has to equal 180 degrees, and that's from adding these two angles together. So you have x plus x minus 4. Now it's in parentheses, so technically to get rid of the parentheses, we need to try and multiply whatever number is out front. Well, it's a positive 1. Multiply in positive 1, 1x minus 4. It doesn't change anything. So we get x plus x minus 4 equals 180. From here, we need to combine like terms. 1x plus 1x is 2x minus 4 equals 180. And if you hadn't already finished solving this one, go ahead and do that now. So as we finish solving this, you add 4 to both sides. It cancels out on the left. You get 2x equals 184. Divide by 2 on both sides to get rid of the 2. They cancel out. X equals 92 degrees. All right, you guys, that's our complementary and supplementary angles. Again, complementary, the sum of the two angles adds to 90. Supplementary, they add to 180. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll see you in class.